Experts in archaeology and science are obsessed with unearthing the past, but every once in a while, they discover something that completely shakes their understanding. These discoveries don't fit with what we thought we knew. They exist outside the boundaries of logic, challenge timelines, and leave behind more questions than answers. Every discovery featured in this video falls into that category: bizarre, breathtaking, and overflowing with mystery. And whether you're a skeptic or a believer, each one awakens a deep curiosity that's impossible to ignore. So, let's begin this list with number 15. The Screaming Figure of Dartmoor. The lonely moors of Dartmoor have always carried a weird and creepy atmosphere, the kind of place where old legends seem to linger long after sunset. In 2022, that feeling deepened when a small clay figure emerged from the muddy edge of a stream, staring upward with a twisted open mouth that immediately disturbed everyone who saw it. Locals quickly nicknamed it the Screaming Figurine. The artifact looked hand-shaped rather than professionally crafted, giving it a personal feel, almost as though someone intentionally made it for a purpose never meant to be understood by outsiders. Some historians believe it may have been a medieval pilgrim token, while others suspect it worked as a ritual object linked to sympathetic magic and folk practices once feared across rural England. There is also an unfamiliar inscription marked on its back, but no one has linked the symbols to any known language. The clay itself had been hardened using an ancient smoke-firing method dating back to Roman traditions. Whatever it truly represented, it carried the disturbing feeling of something deliberately hidden rather than accidentally lost. Number 14. Cave Paintings of Valcamonica. If there is one ancient place that still leaves researchers staring at stone in complete confusion, it is the Valley of Valcamonica in northern Italy. Across the rocky landscape, thousands of carvings remain etched into the surface, created by generations of people over nearly 8,000 years. Many of the images feel connected to ordinary ancient life at first. Like human figures appear carrying weapons. Animals move across hunting scenes. Ceremonies and gatherings unfold across the stone as though fragments of forgotten memories were frozen into the mountains themselves. Then the atmosphere shifts. Some carvings look nothing like the others surrounding them. A few figures appear with large, rounded heads enclosed inside circular shapes that resemble helmets or glowing masks. Their bodies seem wrapped inside strange forms, unlike normal clothing seen elsewhere in the valley. Thin lines extend outward in ways that continue to fuel endless speculation. Archaeologists believe the images most likely represent ritual symbolism or spiritual traditions now lost to history. But the carvings still leave behind the same lingering question. What did those ancient artists believe they were seeing? Number 13. The Book No One Can Read. For nearly 2 centuries, the Rohank Codex has sat in silence while scholars, linguists, and cryptographers struggle to understand a single page of it. The mysterious manuscript surfaced in 1838 within the archives of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, carrying no author or any recognizable language anywhere inside it. Every page is covered in strange symbols unlike any known alphabet, more than 400 unique characters arranged in patterns nobody has decoded. The illustrations only deepen the mystery. Some pages depict religious ceremonies, and some show battles, cities, or figures gathered beneath strange banners. But none provide enough context to reveal who created the manuscript or what it was meant to say. Scientific testing later traced the paper itself back to 16th century Italy, proving the codex is not modern, though that solved almost nothing. Some experts suspect it may be a hoax, while others believe it hides a genuine lost language or forgotten cipher. Even digital copies are available online, which are waiting for someone capable of unlocking whatever secrets the book still guards. Number 12. Gwion Rock Paintings. Australia's Kimberley region already feels ancient in a way that is difficult to explain. Endless cliffs, red stone, empty silence, and hidden across those rock shelters are figures that almost do not feel human. They are called the Guion paintings, and some researchers believe they could be more than 12,000 years old. Unlike most prehistoric cave art, these figures were painted with super precision. Thin bodies covered in tassels, sashes, armbands, and odd headdresses stretch across the stone as though they are moving instead of standing still. Some appear to dance, others seem to float completely above the ground. Aboriginal traditions connect them to ancestral spirit beings, though archaeologists still argue over who painted them and why the style looks nothing like nearby rock art. Even the shelters themselves feel carefully chosen, almost ceremonial. The longer people stare at the paintings, the stranger they become. They do not feel rough or primitive. They feel remembered from somewhere very far away. Number 11. Mummies of millions of dogs. The holy desert of Saqqara is already famous for giant tombs, hidden chambers, and mysteries buried beneath the sands of ancient Egypt. But this discovery is super chilling. Beneath the necropolis near Memphis, archaeologists found endless underground tunnels once filled with nearly 8 million mummified dogs and puppies dedicated to Anubis, the jackal-headed god of death. The scale of the burial site was almost impossible to imagine. For centuries, worshippers traveled there carrying offerings while priests, embalmers, breeders, and merchants built an entire economy around ritual and sacrifice. Many of the remains vanished over time, stolen by looters or even crushed into fertilizer during later centuries, but enough survived to reveal how massive the cult truly was. Hidden above the tunnels sat another bizarre detail: a marine fossil nearly 48 million years old embedded in the stone ceiling itself. Around Saqqara, archaeologists also found mummified hawks, crocs, baboons, and ibises, turning the ancient burial ground into a place where religion, death, and mystery blended into one enormous ancient city of the dead. Number 10. The werewolf-like skull. Well, werewolves might belong to legends and movies now, but across parts of Eastern Europe, people once feared them as something very real. Old Balkan stories warned about cursed beings that could return from the grave unless their bodies were destroyed completely. That fear suddenly came rushing back when Bulgarian farmer Trake Dragunov uncovered a chained wooden chest buried beneath his farmland. Rusted metal wrapped around it so tightly, it looked less like a container and more like a prison. The moment he forced it open, he found a skull unlike anything he had seen before. It resembled a wolf, yet parts of it appeared disturbingly human, especially the swollen upper structure that made the discovery feel unnatural. News spread quickly through nearby villages, eventually drawing the attention of historian Philip Ganv, who examined the remains during research in the area. Officials later claimed it belonged to a diseased wolf, though the explanation only deepened local fear because the illness they referenced was associated with humans. The chest contained only a head, and according to local folklore, that was exactly how cursed creatures were once buried. So, is this creature real? Number 9. The Lost City Beneath Africa. Across the hills near Maputo, Mozambique, strange circles of stone spread across the landscape like the faded outline of something ancient people were never supposed to see. At first glance, the ruins appear ordinary, little more than broken walls scattered through dry grass and uneven ground. But researchers Michael Tellinger and Johann Heine believe the site may be connected to something far older and far more mysterious. According to their claims, the ruins could belong to a massive settlement dating back nearly 200,000 years, possibly tied to legends surrounding the Anunnaki and ancient gold mining civilizations. Most archaeologists reject the idea immediately because it completely collides with accepted timelines of human development. Yet even critics admit the formations themselves are real. From above, the land reveals patterns resembling roads, agricultural divisions, and circular foundations stretching across enormous distances. Evidence of ancient mining activity has also been discovered nearby. Whether the ruins represent a forgotten civilization or simply misunderstood formations shaped by time remains heavily debated. Still, Something unusual undeniably rests beneath the African soil. Number 8. Delivery of messages from the afterlife. Victorian London became obsessed with death in ways that feel unsettling even now. Mourning rituals filled homes, seances attracted huge crowds, and countless people searched desperately for proof that consciousness survived beyond the grave. Among the most famous believers was journalist William Thomas Stead, who claimed he could communicate with the dead through automatic writing. According to Stead, messages flowed onto paper without conscious control, guided by spirits speaking from another dimension. One of the voices he believed contacted him belonged to an American journalist named Julia Ames, who died in the 19th century. Her supposed letters described the afterlife not as darkness or punishment, but as a continuation of existence beyond the body. Then history added a chilling twist. Stead himself later died aboard the Titanic in 1912. Soon afterward, his own daughter claimed new automatic messages began arriving from her dead father. Whether fraud, grief, or something impossible to explain, these stories reveal how fiercely humans resist the idea that death might actually be the end. Number 7. The ancient dolphin-like creature. Nobody expected a casual walk on a Maryland beach to end with a creature from another world rising out of the sand. Emily Bazdick was simply wandering along the shoreline when something big caught her eye near the water. At first, it looked like driftwood buried in the mud, but the shape felt wrong. Too smooth, heavy, and strange. What she uncovered turned out to be part of a fossilized skull from a prehistoric marine predator that lived nearly 15 million years ago. The skull alone measured around 76 centimeters long and weighed more than 40 pounds. Experts later identified the animal as an extinct dolphin-like hunter that once moved through the ancient sea covering much of modern Maryland during the Miocene period. Unlike modern dolphins, this creature had a long, narrow snout built for catching prey in deep water. What makes the discovery super chilling is the silence surrounding its extinction. These animals once ruled entire coastlines, then vanished completely without leaving behind any clear explanation. Number 6. The mystery of the plush swan. Buried within frozen tombs in the Altai Mountains, archaeologists uncovered a strange object that feels more haunting than grand. A small swan made from felt and stuffed with reindeer hair had survived more than 2,400 years beneath the earth. The figurine belonged to the Pazyryk culture, nomadic people connected with the ancient Scythians who once moved across the Eurasian steppes. Despite its age, the swan still carried delicate details. White felt shaped the body, while darker material formed the wings and eyes. Wooden supports hidden inside the legs allowed the figure to stand upright centuries ago. Researchers believe the swan may have decorated a ceremonial cart or ritual structure connected with burial traditions. Among many ancient cultures, swans represented movement between worlds because they belonged to water, land, and sky all at once. That symbolism made them powerful spiritual creatures associated with life, death, and transition. The freezing climate preserved the figurine almost perfectly, leaving behind something unexpectedly emotional. But it looks creepy, isn't it? Number 5. Strange pyramid-shaped tomb. The Yellow River in China has witnessed the rise and fall of many dynasties, and buried beneath its surrounding lands are countless tombs still untouched by time. During construction work near Zhengzhou, some workers uncovered 2 ancient burial chambers hidden below the earth. But one of them immediately stood apart from anything expected. Shaped like a pyramid with pointed walls rising upward, the structure looked very unusual compared to the rounded brick tombs more commonly found across ancient China. Beside it sat a larger dome-shaped chamber stretching nearly 100 feet long with a sloped entrance descending underground. A narrow hole carved into the roof suggested tomb robbers once reached the larger burial site, but the pyramid-shaped tomb appeared completely sealed, likely ignored because of its strange design. Based on the brickwork and nearby Han-era industrial ruins, archaeologists believe the tombs may date back more than 2,000 years to the Han dynasty. What still waits inside remains unknown. But the architecture alone was enough to turn the discovery into the biggest riddle. Number 4. Cave of Swimmers. Long before the Sahara became an endless ocean of sand, parts of North Africa looked completely different from the world people know today. Lakes stretched across the land, rivers cut through grasslands, animals roamed areas now buried beneath heat and silence. Hidden within Egypt's Gilf Kebir Plateau is the Cave of Swimmers, a rock shelter carrying paintings created nearly 10,000 years ago during that lost period of history. The figures painted across the walls appear suspended in motion, arms and legs stretched outward as though they are swimming through water. Nearby images show animals, human figures, and strange patterns painted in faded red ochre across the stone. The discovery became famous after appearing in The English Patient, though the real mystery goes far deeper than cinema. Archaeologists believe the paintings preserve proof that the Sahara was once wet enough to support human life beside lakes and rivers. Yet the meaning behind the swimming figures still remains uncertain. Some believe the poses represent spiritual rituals. But who knows the truth? Number 3. Bolivia's vertical dinosaur wall. Well, the giant cliff at Cal Orco in Bolivia looks almost impossible to understand. Thousands of dinosaur footprints cover its surface, stretching upward along a nearly vertical wall as though prehistoric creatures once climbed straight into the sky. The tracks belong to at least 15 different species, including massive titanosaurs and fierce carnivores, making it one of the largest collections of dinosaur footprints ever discovered anywhere on Earth. Workers at a nearby cement company first uncovered the site during mining operations in the 1980s, but the true scale of the discovery only became clear years later when more of the cliff was exposed. Of course, dinosaurs were never scaling mountains like giant reptiles from a fantasy film. Millions of years ago, the wall was actually flat ground beside a muddy lake where the animals walked naturally, leaving footprints pressed into soft earth. Over immense spans of time, tectonic forces tilted the entire landscape upward until the ancient lake bed became a towering cliff face. What remains today feels less like a fossil site and more like Earth accidentally turning history sideways. Number 2. Canozero petroglyphs. When archaeologists reached Lake Canozero on Russia's Kola Peninsula in 1997, nobody expected the rocky islands surrounding the lake to hold one of Northern Europe's greatest collections of prehistoric carvings. More than 1,000 petroglyphs were eventually uncovered across exposed stone surfaces, dating back to the 2nd and 3rd millennia BC. The images reveal scenes from ancient life frozen permanently into the rock. Boats drift across the carvings beside hunters carrying weapons, fishermen casting nets, animals moving through forests, and strange ritual symbols whose meanings disappeared thousands of years ago. Some experts believe the carvings may have served as records, warnings, or spiritual markers tied to early communities living in the region. The clearest images appear across 3 islands and a rocky area known as Odin Nosha. We mean, even now, standing before the petroglyphs creates the feeling of watching fragments of another world still surviving beside the water. Number 1. Almost perfect shrine. Long before cities rose across the Middle East, the deserts of Jordan were already holding secrets carved into stone. In the remote Kashabieh Mountains, archaeologists have found a ritual site nearly 9,000 years old that survived in astonishing condition, almost as though the people who built it had only recently disappeared. Scattered across the site were carved stones with human-like faces, animal figurines, marine fossils, flint tools, and a carefully constructed altar tied to ancient ceremonies. But the strangest object rested at the center, a miniature model of what archaeologists call a desert kite, one of the massive stone hunting traps once used to funnel wild gazelles into narrow killing zones. Full-sized versions still stretch across the surrounding desert, some running for more than a mile. The shrine's close connection to these enormous hunting systems suggests something far deeper than survival alone. For these early communities, hunting was not simply about food. It carried ritual meaning powerful enough to become part of their spiritual world, leaving behind a discovery that still shocked experts. If you have enjoyed this video, please like it and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you very soon.